All right. Okay, let's start. So let me share quickly what we are. A quick word about Ikare, and then let's move on. So what we're doing right now with what we're doing right now with Ikare is that we are providing a service that helps everyone to be as much healthy as possible and to provide some kind of a longevity routine with the help of a coach and doctor, and obviously a couple of tools using AI. The goal is to make sure that people can live as healthy as possible, also as happy as possible, with the best health as possible, to help them to have a great time with their family, with their kid, and to have a fulfilling life. That's kind of the goal. Nothing more than we can promise, but that's what we're trying to do. There's going to be this is going to be an everything app where you have on one side you have your doctor, and afterward you have the coach that helps you to guide you towards the best routine as possible, and everything is going to be within an app. And yeah, basically that's going to be something really practical like that. So practically speaking, you have this one step where you have the longevity doctor, and second step is going to be finding around what's going to happen within your body and by doing some kind of testing. And then once you have this overall explanation about what's happening with the doctor and this testing, then you can move on towards the routine with the coach, helping with the routine. So that's kind of what we're trying to do step by step, trying to understand over the 6 months period a plan, a step by step that is enabling you to have the best routine as possible. Well, that's basically it. So the next thing that we're going to do is look for what the doctor needs and the coach need and the customer needs or the patient, and implement that step by step. So we have a tool, like a platform that is as much user-friendly as possible, as much time enabler in terms of we help the doctor saving time and the coach saving time, as well as the customer to be as much focused on providing the best service and getting the more results. Yeah, so that's going to be it. And as the long-term approach is to have an app that is the co-pilot with using AI for the everyday, for the longevity co-pilot on the everyday basis. So that's basically it on my side. And yeah, right now I think if Andrea, you want to start the webinar, that'd be great.
Yes, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, hello everyone. My name is. Oh, somebody joined. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Andrea. I'm 23. I live a bit all over the world, but I'm from France, Nice to be precise. So I'm gonna just share with you a little PDF, if I can. Did you enable it for me, maybe? Max?
It's a good question. Let me see quickly.
You have to click on present now. You have this button with this arrow pointing up. And if I can do it, then you should be able to do it also.
Okay, I think you're good now. Yeah.
You're having it. All right, great.
All right. All good? All right. Okay. So as I said, I'm from France, to be precise. I currently live in Tallinn, Estonia. I am a former top-level strength athlete in powerlifting, and I have been a physical trainer for 6 years now. And for the past 3 years, I have specialized myself in the study of the nervous system and its implications for sports training, nutrition, and mental preparation. Bottom line is that I've followed all kinds of profiles, from the 20-year-old world champion in athletic strength to the 40-year-old entrepreneur, never with the same methods, but always with the same vision: rebalance, improve, and optimize the daily lives and internal, external results of the people I work with for nutrition, training, and mental prep. So with Ikare, I take care of coaching, and I try my best month after month to change your habits, the vision of your life, develop and improve the crucial but too often sidelined axis in your life, which is nutrition, movement, and mental preparation. So with Ikare, you can see me as trainer, nutrition coach, health assistant, mental coach, depending on your needs. Today, I'm going to point you in the direction of longevity through my fields of knowledge and expertise. I'm not going to talk too medically because I'm not a doctor and somebody is taking care of it with Ikare. Here, I'm the strategist who's going to try to deal with your medical results and set up strategies around it. So today is going to be a lot about nutrition. I invite you maybe to take some notes, but anyway, after the webinar, you're going to receive a little file uh, with presentation with some of the details I'm going to give you about vitamins, etc. So to begin with, I'd be curious to know, like, what's you guys your point of view in longevity? Like, can anyone give me maybe some kind of definition, personal definition of longevity, maybe? Nobody?
Yes, I'm not sure if you hear me because I am on a phone in a train, but for me, it's live not too long, but in good health.
Okay. Anybody else with a definition? This one is good.
Longevity. I would say that longevity is the capacity to stay active, healthy, stretch, flexible. I would say, and mentally okay through the aging process. I would say.
Okay, this is a solid definition, but truly, what is longevity is about extension of life expectancy. So it refers directly to the living world, the organic. With longevity in mind, we are also referring to a state of organic balance called homeostasis, the ability to maintain a stable internal state and a balanced energy output. This is really our body's primary function. For every action carried out internally, a functioning of the organism, or externally, a task involving cognitive or physical effort, our body sets itself in motion to ensure that the task is performed as efficient as possible. Otherwise, it will never be sustainable. So the more a task is repeated and routinized, the more the body will support it. Now the problems comes when we build our lives for performance, which can be in our work projects, cognitive or physical activity. Changing in any state will always have a negative energetic impact at first. And a lifetime spent upsetting the chessboard, if I may say, goes with an energetic depth, which will have physical and mental consequences. So this is the case for any of us here, all of you here. You've all been through harrowing periods which have put your mental and physical state to the test in order to achieve your goals, which is positive. Sometimes, without realizing it, you've even missed on the tools to avoid or better support these periods, and maybe even go further. So with Ikare, as Max said, our mission is to make amends to the body and mind for what has been taken. And our vision is to align the wishes and ambitions of the mind with your biological functioning in order to improve your situation, avoid health problems linked to nutrition, physical activities, and maybe even mental health. So in this talk, I'll guide you to the key concepts that will help you maintain this state of homeostasis in your daily quest to excel. And I'm putting the emphasis on overcoming excellence because, in fact, you have to choose your longevity. Do we want a longevity focused on resilience, ability to avoid physical pathologies, push back obsolescence of our organs, bottom line, to be more capable more longer? Or do we want the longevity that natural selection promises us? So meet Mindy. Mindy, it's a bit of a project, like a projection. You don't have to take it too seriously, but it's what the typical Western human that science predicts us and that we'll see in few generations' time if we keep on digitalizing without any checks and balance. So you can see text claw, smartphone elbow, fixed skull and neck, smaller brain, hunchbacked. This is the promised consequences for the future. And I even go as far as to warn you that this is also what's happening on the human life scale. We probably all know someone who's tending towards this physical criteria as a result of maybe hours spent in front of the computer, on the phone, with no balance, no physical activity, poor nutrition. Now, I ask you, do you want to tend towards this type of longevity? Because this is surely what natural selection will eventually bring us. A human who tends towards ever less physical action, living in maybe a digitalized bubble, some kind, incapable of any physical resilience and sensitive to the slightest change in environment. So if that's the case, I think this conference is not for you because natural selection will do its job. But for those who want to improve themselves and help you multiply your internal capacities to better serve your external actions, we're gonna act on 3 levels, and today we're gonna focus on 2, which is mental preparation as a solution, support, and gas pedal in your quest, wherever you come from and wherever you want to go, and micro and macro nutrition with a key to a functional metabolism capable of maintaining itself and responding when needed. So we're going to go a bit deeper into what makes ourselves more resilient through nutrition and mental prep, and introduce the importance of physical preparation today. So we're going to check about the biomarkers of longevity. First one is mental strength, mental health. I'm going to introduce you to some key concepts and simple actions that will help you build a more resilient body and mind over time. First thing first, mental resilience. It's putting longevity at the center of our considerations through mental prep. Nowadays, in the West mostly, thanks to advances in medicine and living standards, we can all live a long life. But under what condition? The condition is that the activities that we undertake on a daily basis brings us more than they take away. A mind that breaks easily is a mind that won't be able to show resilience, that will always do the least to be in the positive, okay, energetic-wise. I'm sure that's not how you want to live your long life. I'm sure that the people I have here today, through your experience, I've spent hundreds of days with maybe a feeling of unfinished business, of not enough, because you constantly want more, not less. And I'm sure none of you want to go back to those extended periods of time when projects couldn't give you satisfaction at the end of the day. Yet, those were the times that defined you. Did you pull through? When and how did you let go if you did? The first step towards longevity for the mind in action is a brain that knows when to be stubborn and when to invest less. Our bodies are blind geniuses. Dale's principles specifies that all the synaptic connections of a neuron perform the same task towards the other cell, regardless of the nature of the later cell. This means that every task, even micro tasks performed during the day, has only as much impact as we give it really. How we experience our tasks, how we interpret them, is the key to resilience, sometimes by identifying a need for action, and sometimes by knowing how to disengage from our daily tasks. If we put a positive emotional charge on a task, it will have a positive meaning for our brain, vice versa. It's crucial to know how sometimes maybe to be more stoic when faced with the toughest task for our brain, because for the said brain, via the pathway of the nervous system, it will use different mechanisms to give us the energy we need to take action on. A task perceived as high stress by the brain will necessarily use the cortisol leverage to get the job done, which is our first biomarker. Imagine if you were to interpret all your action as high stress, the result on how you live your daily life. If getting up in the morning becomes a chore, if the first work task of the day represents a barrier that is hard to pass, if managing your time is a challenge for you, your whole life will be a cortisol rush. Problem is that although cortisol hormone is very highly functional for human beings, really important, you should not avoid it at all time. But in excessive amounts in your blood, in your urine, in your saliva, especially after the afternoon around 4 p.m., high level of cortisol are associated with whole range of physical and mental health problems. High blood pressure, muscle loss, headaches, anxiety, mood swings, digestive problems, constant fatigue, weight gain even, etc., etc. So let's keep an eye on those cortisol levels. And to make sure that they are good, I invite you to maybe carry out a blood test, which can include cortisol. With a morning blood sample, you should get between 5 to 25 micrograms per deciliter. Those are some of the examples that you should look after. So now, how really to maintain those cortisol level down in your practical life? One way to do it is to use the SMART method, which is about setting goals and setting them properly. It involves evaluating your goals in terms of specificity, measurability, attainability, temporality. Bottom line is that if you are educated and objective about the nature of your day-to-day tasks and longer frame tasks, it is impossible for your nervous system to use inappropriate leverages to achieve those tasks. It's a matter of aligning demand and supply with your own judgment as the arbiter. The leverage of mental preparation with Ikare goes from a long range. This is a reorganization work in which, of course, we are experts at Ikare with our mental preparators. We can help you identify, educate on the personal challenges that you face that are preventing you from progressing. And we give you the weapons to move forward through meditation, visualization, vision work, and mental projections. So this is where it goes for mental prep. If you want to, make a suggestion, a question, or whatever, you can do it right now if you want. Anyhow, so we're going to discuss a bit more about the physiological matters and nutrition. And we just dealt with the problems in terms of mental prep, but you're going to realize that with nutrition point of view, most of the important biomarkers I'm going to list and their main source, that in fact, no particular dogmatic diet will fit the description of what compounds the best health-related nutrition. First of all, we're going to look at the body weight management. So what's important to do with our body weight? It's the first biomarkers. An efficient metabolism starts with an efficient body mass and the amount of calories that you consume every day. This is what metabolism is really. For a body that strives in homeostasis, our nutrition isn't always the best on this matter, because sometimes you're going to have intense calorie surplus, intense caloric deficit. But if intense caloric surplus and deficits can be needed for some time to maybe resolve a problem, lack of or surplus of body mass, what we should strive for in terms of optimal functions is what we call a caloric maintenance. Maybe sometimes with a margin of minus or plus 10% of your caloric maintenance, depending if you want to gain or lose weight. But the main goal would be to not overstress your metabolism for too long. Because if you overstress your metabolism, which is on surplus or deficit, some other parts are going to be, ignored a bit by your body, which can lead to health problems in the future. Question will be, how do you calculate your metabolism? Well, we have standards, meta-analysis, that should give you an idea of how an individual, your size, age, and with same physical exertion, should consume every day to maintain its body weight. There are great tools on the internet. Most of them turns around the terms of BMR calculator, which is basic metabolic rate calculator. Makes you know what your body needs to function every day and maintain its stage, body weight wise. If you feel like, when you get the results, if you feel like the numbers that appears doesn't fit really what is a maintaining caloric intake, you might have metabolic rate problem, and we are here to fix it. So let's get a little deeper into nutrition. Let's talk proteins, carbohydrates, and fatty acids, because this is mainly the questions that I get is how much proteins, how much carbs, how much fatties should I consume every day? So when you build your nutrition, you should always consider having a ratio between proteins, carbs, and fatty acids. Considering proteins, depending on your physical activity intensity, you can aim between 1.6 up to, I'd say, 2.3 grams of proteins per kilograms a day. This might ring a bell to some of you because we've been educated towards like proteins are going to hurt your organs if not assimilated, but it truly is not the case. Proteins as far as 1.3 to 1.7 grams have been shown to only maintain muscle body mass in the body. Everything up from 1.6 to 2.3 have been shown to increase it even slightly, person that doesn't have physical exercise through the day. So imagine if you have a physical output. Those are the numbers that you can write on. What you want to get with proteins is not only a quota, just numbers at the end of the day, but it's the proportion of essential proteins that you have in your diet. Main point being, if you only consume low amino acids profile proteins, you're not going to get as much benefits as you could get with more complete proteins that you can find in meat, white, plain meat, or red meat, fish, eggs. Those are the meats that the proteins intakes that have the most complete amino acids profile, and it's a reality. The rest of the ratio is going to be arranged between carbs and fatty acids. While it's known that carbs can become unproductive at some levels if they are not used by your metabolism as fuel, it's pretty much the same for fatty acids. So you better know your blood sugar, insulin profile, fatty acids profile, and cholesterol levels via blood tests once again before going too strong on each one of them. What you should also know is that your brain runs on glucose. So aiming for a ketogenic type of diet, too sugar deprived, is going to go with a type of reaction in your body. If you are big on cognitive function in your job or elsewhere, it might not be the best idea. On the other side, lowering your fatty intake will also make you slower physically and brain-wise. Fatty acids plays a crucial role in cognitive function, brain development, and overall brain health. Among the various types of fatty acids, you're going to find omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that are very known for their improvement on brain functions. And to be very precise, how this works, omega-3 works with DHA, which is the primary structural component of the brain, and mainly is that it supports synaptic functions, neurotransmission, plasticity of the brain, which is essential for learning and for memory, while EPA, which is not that abundant, still plays a role, but more into like supporting overall brain health with modulating inflammation. So those are points where you can supplement yourself or aim in your nutrition towards more omega-3 fatty acids, mainly DHA if you want some response on your brain activity day to day, and more on EPA if you want to modulate maybe some kinds of problems with headaches, not being able to recover fully day by day with your cognitive abilities. We also have omega-6 fatty acids, which is quite important, but very abundant in our nutrition, so maybe less worth of supplementing. Omega-6 fatty acids, the body cannot produce it on its own, so it's important to have. But as I said, you will have it in your day-to-day food nutrition. So it's more about signal transduction and, again, inflammation, but it's still important. Now, to go back onto how to manage the big three, it's the other factor is going to be your physical activity. If you are big on activities such as fast twitch muscle activities, repeated sprints, bodybuilding workouts, everything that includes really like fast twitch muscles, which are the biggest type of muscles that you have, you should aim for a bigger proportion maybe of carbs relative to fatty acids. Now, if you are bigger on endurance type of exercise, running for a long period of time, you should have a better balance, and I say balance, between carbs and fatty acids. Because what you eat really is going to be your fuel. So choose your fuel wisely if you want your activities to be sustainable. To get more onto like the general recommendations, you will get 30% of fatty acids in your caloric intakes, with maybe 15% of your caloric intake in saturated fatty acids. That's for the recommendations. Saturated fatty acids are going to play a big role into transforming those fatty acids into proteins, into hormones that are going to fuel your endocrine system, so mainly testosterone and estrogen. So it's important to have them, but it's also, when you have too much of them, it's also related to LDL cholesterol and overall cardiovascular problems. So 15% of your caloric intake, if you have physical activity during the day, is a good way to start. And 30% of fatty acid is general recommendation that you could go through. Regarding carbs, well, it's going to be a bit filling a hole, and then you're going to adjust between carbs and fatty acids regarding of how you respond day to day, if your energy levels are good. But 40% of your caloric intake will put you, I'd say, in a sweet spot, with a portions of fibers ranging from 25 to 40 grams a day, depending if male or female. Male will tend to have a bigger need on those matters. The whole balance with carbs is how much added sugar you consume, and the balance between high glycemic and low glycemic carbs you consume in the day. A high glycemic carb is going to raise your blood sugar quite instantly, so you better make it useful. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your insulin response and suffer from constant fatigue at some point if repeated. With a low glycemic carb, it's a more complex carb, so it's going to take more time to be break down into digestion, and it's going to raise your blood sugar level slower, but it's going to even like take more energy for you to digest them. So it's all about range. You cannot expect going in a big workout in 30 minutes and consume only low glycemic carbs. You need a bit more of high glycemic carb. But if your activity is spending some time on the computer, working a bit, high glycemic carb will just have too high of a response to be effective, and it's going to make you a bit suffer at some point, because you're going to have an energy rush that's not really related to blood sugar, but more on the dopaminergic system. And when the insulin is going to be covered, you're going to have a time of maybe a little bit of a crash, physically, energetically. So it's a matter of purpose between these two, and both have functioning levels, but if too much, it's gonna have a not optimal profile. Okay. So now that we've covered the big three on nutrition, we're gonna talk a bit more of a deeper layer. We're gonna go back to what we said about cortisol for a moment, and we're gonna talk about oxidative stress profile. It's for cortisol, the main consequence is the accumulation of oxidative stress. It's like Lavoisier law. Okay, nothing is created, nothing is lost, everything is transformed, and the accumulation of cortisol is going to be transformed in the body as oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is an unbalanced condition between the productions of free radicals, which are unstable oxygen-containing molecules, and the body ability to neutralize them or even eliminate them through antioxidant defense mechanism. So what we can do at the nutritional level is to build our diet, and maybe supplements, whole diet, around the suppression of this accumulated oxidative stress by abundance of antioxidant food. The best antioxidants in the diet are not gonna be like a surprise for you guys. It's mainly vitamins, minerals, and other compounds that we call phytochemicals that are found in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So I'm gonna give you some example of what you can do, what you can maximize to get to a better profile on this oxidative system. The first one is gonna be vitamin C, very important. So its role is to protect cells against free radical damage, regenerate antioxidants in the body. You can find it in mostly like citrus fruits, so oranges, lemons, grapefruits. You can also find it in strawberries, kiwis, red and green peppers, and broccoli. So this is for vitamin C. For vitamin E, we tend to aim for protections of the membranes of the cell against the oxidative damage. You'll most of the time find it in almonds, hazelnuts, spinach, avocados. Third compound will be selenium, which is very, very trendy, but should have an intake that is like controlled. It should not, if your diet is like 35% of nuts and seeds, it's not gonna go well for your digestive system. So keep an open mind. You need a bit of everything out of this, but don't go straight to what's not gonna make you like assimilate your food. It's very important to think about assimilation. But going back to selenium, we have Brazil nuts that have high dosage of selenium. It's going to help protect the cells against oxidative damage by activating the enzymes of antioxidant system, which is a layer that goes a bit deeper. A layer that goes deeper because it's going to protect also your whole endocrine system. So you're going to find that in Brazil nuts, mostly in seafood, but mostly, if I'm very honest on this, is going to be eggs that are going to be important. Eggs are going to come back often in this conversation, but they have the better vitamin, minerals, and overall protein and fatty acids profile. So they are going to come back often. And it's good because you can make a bigger strike with those kinds of food. You don't have to find what is directly into this food, like in 3, 4, 5 other separate foods. So you're going to have it in red meat, eggs, and mostly whole grains. And the fourth compound is going to be zinc, which you can find again in meat, red meat, some kind of pumpkin seed, again nuts, and it's going to contribute to protein formation and cell protection against, again, this oxidative stress. And the last one are going to be all the phytochemicals compounds that you're going to find in various range of veggies and fruits, but also in tea, cocoa, and coffee. This comes to a surprise, but even coffee has antioxidant mechanism. The range with coffee is going to be like, how much does it? It's again like, what do you use it for? Is it going to be a fuel, or is it going to be something that you just have a spike of energy and you don't use it? If you don't use it, you're going to build stress overall. Your cortisol levels are not going to be functional. So it's important to know that some of the stimulants that we have in the market can be very bad for health, but it's always about how you function with them, because those plants, most of the times, they are adaptogenic plants. So they are involved in the central nervous system, so they will have benefits, but you always should strive for functionality with what you eat. You don't eat just for eating, you eat for a function at some point. Of course, eating is about getting pleasure out of it. It's a very big, palatability is a very big compound of eating, but you gotta come back always with an open mind and function at the end of the day. If the function is only about pleasure, it can be done once a week, once in a while, or even once a day in a few dosage, but it always have to be a function in terms of how your body works. So back on phytochemical compounds, we have green and black tea, we have cocoa, we have coffee, we said it, and most of it are going to be around grapefruits on the fruit side. You're going to have carrots and sweet potatoes that are big on it. Mostly all the beta-carotene, carotinate type of actions is going to be very efficient with phytochemical compounds, and just not those compounds, but on this matter is going to be very important. I'm just going to make a stop at carotenoids, which is very, very important because they protect your skin, they protect your eyes, and they lower the risk of cancer, of cardiovascular diseases, and they have big impact. Supplementing yourself with beta-carotene, with implementing lots of carotenoids, are going to be a key factor against the aging of the eyes, the aging of the skin, regarding people that works a lot with computers. So this is a very, very important compound. Okay, and we have also other antioxidants that you can implement in your daily supplementation or even nutrition, which is called as CoQ10, so coenzyme Q10. You can find it mostly in meat, fish, nuts again, but you can maybe sometimes, if you feel like your body is in a state of like depression, if you feel like you accumulate fatigue throughout the day and your sleep is affected, this can be an effective way to supplement yourself with CoQ10. It can be a tool, but it cannot be like you cannot have a bad nutrition regarding antioxidants and just go with CoQ10 and just say, okay, it's done. No, it's not how it works. So main point is incorporating a variety of these antioxidant-rich foods. It will help you protect your cells and be active into the oxidative damage of the stress of your day-to-day life. And overall, it will contribute to a better health. It's always about depth. Your body, if he has constantly to, I could say, detoxify itself, okay, through liver use, if he has to do it too much, it will fatigue himself too often. So better strive for a balance, okay, than accumulating depth and having the body to deal with it with like high pump mechanism, okay. So we're done on the oxidative stress. We're gonna go more into like micronutrition and how to read vitamins and minerals. So we saw that just through the lens of antioxidants, we also addressed the issue of micronutritional profile, which concerns vitamin and minerals. So once again, to define appropriate needs, it's important to carry out a blood test, a complete blood test with vitamins and minerals. But I'm gonna make a bit of a focus on what are the most important vitamins that you can include in your diet, including your supplementation. The most important vitamins are going to be a compound that is known as the fat-soluble vitamins. They play a crucial role in maintaining body's health and proper functioning. And unlike water-soluble vitamins, fat-soluble vitamins, which are displayed here, A, D, E, K, are stored in adipose tissue and the liver and can be used by the body when needed. Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of how it's important. We're going to get back to vitamin A, which is retinol and beta-carotene. So getting back on this. Functions: vision, immune system, cell growth, skin health. Okay, so vitamin A is going to play a huge part on the formation of the retinal pigment. Okay, it's very, very necessary for low light vision, which is highly important for people, again, that works with computers. The immune systems, it plays a big role in maintaining the integrity of the membranes, okay? And it reinforces the immune response. Again, you're taking a step a bit forwards when you are supplementing or including foods that are big in vitamin A. You are making a move forward into the immune response. You're not just acting as a reaction, but you're being a bit more proactive towards this. And in terms of skin health, it's just strengthens the skin health and repairs. And as for cell growth, it's better with it's involving cell differentiations and cell development overall. So the main food source with this, I've covered it, but you have liver in terms of meat. In terms of more greens and fruits, you have carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, broccoli, and mango. The highest forms you can have will always be between carrots and sweet potatoes. So this is a continuous discussion. It's going to come regularly those types of foods, but carrots, sweet potatoes, liver, spinach, broccoli, mango. Now getting back to vitamin D, which is calciferol. What are these functions? It's mainly about making all of the other vitamins work together. And not only vitamins, but endocrine system and also minerals. So it's big on calcium absorption, okay, through the intestine. It's essential for absorption of calcium, which is very important in the formations of bone density, even teeth. Immune function, it plays a big role in modulating the immune response because it plays with other compounds of other vitamins. And for muscular health, it has been shown also to have a big impact on testosterone levels, so contributes to some kind of normal muscle function also. So again, food sources. It's not only about food sources for vitamin D, as you know, it's mainly also about sun exposure. So it's very important to at least see daylight or have at least a bit of UV in your life. So it's going to be about sun exposure, but for food source, you're going to have what we call fatty fish, oily fish, which is salmon, mackerel mostly. Again, liver is a big source of it, but it's not. I don't want to go into the conversation of you should eat 200 grams of liver a day because it's a bit too dense in some minerals, but it is important quantities in liver, egg yolk, and many like dairy products like unchanged dairy products, raw milk, for example. So that's for vitamin D. As for vitamin E, we have a big antioxidant function, okay, to protect cell membranes against free radicals. We have immune system functions, and again, skin health. The thing is that the little magic with all those four is that you're gonna need vitamin D, and you're gonna have it mostly through sun exposure. But vitamin E is gonna protect highly your skin of UV damage. So it works together, it's a compound. You can find it in olive oil, nuts, seeds, spinach, and avocado. Last one would be vitamin K, which is highly correlated to blood circulation, blood pressure. So it's essential for the synthesis of proteins that involve this coagulation of blood. It's going to play a huge important role into bone health through calcium fixation also. And the most food sources that you're going to get them are going to be greens mostly, so spinach, kale, broccoli. You can have it in fermented products also, such as natto, but mostly on those greens. So the important part with the fat soluble vitamins is mainly its storage. Okay, so since they are fat solubles, these vitamins can be stored in the tissue, adipose tissue, and the liver, and it provides you a reserve. And that's why striving for ever less fatty acids in your daily nutrition is going to be a problem. It's that you will only have like the, how can I say it simply, but like the minimum storage, which is in liver and adipose tissue. If you are very low on body fat mass, it's not going to store properly. If you don't have enough fatty acids in your body, it's not going to store properly. You're not going to raise your levels in those fat soluble vitamins, which are essential. So that's why we say that aiming for a ever lower body fat is not something that you should strive for in like day-to-day life and yearly round. Okay, you need some kind of it. Second point is absorption and transport. Okay, so they are absorbed in the digestive systems, which is important to like put an emphasis on having a diet that contains those healthy fats, because the absorption through all the vitamins through the digestive system is regulated by the fat. Okay. Now, what can we risk with deficiency or maybe even excess? It's mainly essential for physiological functions. So in terms of how you're gonna react on the uh, endocrine system, how you're gonna react on how you fix vitamins, fat-soluble vitamins are gonna be an essential compound for every other vitamins. Okay. So there it goes for the big compound of micronutrition regarding vitamins. Now we're gonna go more with hormones. Okay, so we're gonna talk about more the two hormones that rules them all, which are not like all of them, but still it's the main ones. So we've said all those things about vitamin profile, but they can only function when the hormonal system is in some kind of balance. An efficient vitamin profile will produce a high performance hormonal system. That is true. But a hormonal system which is defective at the base cannot produce a high performance vitamin profile. And the leverage on this are multiple. Okay, nutrition is very, very important, but there are many, many different leverage on it. I'll get more into that later. So it's extremely important to verify both through genetic and epigenetic testing that male or female hormones are within normal ranges. So what's the point of focus here is if you focus too much on feeling, let's say, vitamin B12, when the endocrine system itself is shown to be defective through blood tests. From this point of view, it's not going to work. Okay, when it comes to testosterone in men or estrogen in women, fat-soluble vitamins are one of the strongest leverage for improvement. If you see your results like, okay, my ADEK is not that good, but maybe B12 is gonna be the worst, like supplementing yourself, like blasting B12 supplements is not gonna play such a huge role, because it might say that your whole endocrine system is not working properly, and you're just gonna lose the better focus. So you have always to think what's gonna get me the best result for, let's say, like the least effort. If you put efforts in every compound, disregarding like what are the strongest leverage, you're gonna fail at your task and you're gonna lose shitloads of money, because honestly, if you try to supplement every vitamins individually, you're just not gonna make it. Okay. So just to give an example, lack of testosterone, also known as hypogonadism or just low testosterone, can significantly impact health and well-being in men. Okay, it's a key hormone to, of course, male sexual characteristics and maintaining them through times, muscle mass, bone density, overall mood, and energy levels. So this is a big question with mainly men that are gonna go through their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and it's the same for women with estrogen. What do we do with those two compounds that are naturally gonna defect a bit? What is longevity in that discussion? Is longevity going on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, or going with big pills for women? It can be. I'm not a doctor, sometimes it can be. But what you should always strive for is through nutrition, through physical activity, is to better the natural pathways for those hormones to exist in your body. Okay, if you only focus on maybe I'm gonna get some kind of medical therapy once for good with replacing testosterone, you're just gonna make your body unable to produce those hormones, which cannot be good at any point if you strive for longevity. You're just gonna force your body to produce them. You're gonna make your metabolism go crazy. You're gonna have as big impact the replacement therapy is gonna be. You're gonna have results that are gonna be very big. Okay, there are, during the times where they tested testosterone replacement therapy, lots of men died of heart attacks, of cardiovascular problems, because it just fastens too much your metabolism. Okay, and when you make your metabolism go crazy, like without natural pathways, what you risk is that accelerating genes, and in genes you have sleeping conditions. Okay, if your whole family has conditions with cardiovascular health, you don't want to make your genes go the fastest as possible. This is a very big discussion in terms of longevity. Okay, there is no great response to everything. Okay, training your natural pathways to those kinds of matters is always going to be the one that are going to have the least bad impact on your health. And if you want to take it on maybe a philosophical matters more, better training your natural pathways to produce testosterone, to produce estrogen, than just putting a big pill on it and saying, okay, it doesn't matter and I don't have to focus on nutrition and everything. Okay, so that's for this on hormones profile, which is very, very important also. Okay, let's go again a bit deeper into the comprehension of longevity through nutrition. And we're going to talk about neurotransmitters, other hormones that are going to regulate your central nervous system. Okay, is the one, your nervous system, that regulates all your voluntary and autonomic functioning. Okay, so organs and movements, mainly cognition also. The ability of the nervous system to function optimally is crucial for your physical, cognitive, and metabolic functions. The good news is that everything your central nervous system needs can be found in your nutrition. And I'm really saying like what it needs, okay? Not what it does, what it needs to function. Both on the more dopaminergic parts, so activating the nervous system, and the serotonin part, okay? So inhibiting the nervous system, activation and relaxation. Concerning dopamine, dopamine is, of course, an essential neurotransmitter. It's involved in the regulations of brain functions, motivation, pleasure, cognition, motor control. And dopamine, it's mainly based on, as serotonin, it's mainly based on the specific precursors and the enzymatic cofactors that are going to be in play. And this is where nutrition has a leverage. Okay, so let's get a bit of an overview on what we can do, what we can strive for in nutrition regarding those neurotransmitters. Okay, so for dopamine, we have tyrosine and phenylalanine. Okay, tyrosine is a non-essential amino acid, which means that the body can itself produce it from another amino acid, which is phenylalanine. So they work together; they don't work separately. Phenylalanine, this time it's an essential amino acid, and it's converted into tyrosine by the enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. Okay, so a diet that is rich in phenylalanine, a diet that is rich also in tyrosine, is going to indirectly, and even I'd say directly, boost dopamine levels. Okay, so food sources are going to be a disappointment for you guys because there is no magic plant, adaptogenic plant that's going to fix that one for all, even though there are leverages on those points. But there is going to be meat, red meat, fish, eggs, and milk. Okay, the discussion is not about like what I want to eat, but it's where are the compounds that you need, okay, in your body. Other discussions can come from what can I digest, what can I assimilate good. This is another discussion, but this is an important discussion also, but I'm just providing you facts. Meat, red meat, fish, eggs, and raw milk is going to be like the main source of those things. Main point being, if you want to focus on increasing your dopaminergic levels, you can always supplement directly into those amino acids, okay, tyrosine and phenylalanine. Okay, it's not pretty safe. It's safe, and it's easily you can easily get it from any supplement factory and supplement yourself directly on those matters. If you wish to maybe having some kinds of step ups into this and not just striving for a balance, but maybe sometimes doing more, having more in your hand to play, because this is how the central nervous system works. You're gonna have some demands of your central nervous system, but it's gonna be all about like, do you have the leverage on it? Do you have in your blood the tyrosine? Do you have in your blood the phenylalanine to make it function and make it appropriate demand? Okay, so you can always supplement yourself on this matter. Okay. More on how the tyrosine system works. Okay, so you have phenylalanine, you have tyrosine. It's going to be converted to tyrosine into L-dopamine by another enzyme, which is tyrosine hydroxylase. So this point is the main control for dopamine production. We talk many times about dopamine. It's not a magic thing. It's not a self-sufficient process. There is dopamine and there is serotonin, and that's it. There are precursors to this, enzymes and amino acids. So there is this. Where you can find also tyrosine and phenylalanine is going to be in lower dosage, but still. Black chocolate, cocoa mainly, again nuts, and some kind of green or some kind of greens. Okay, so kale is going to be strong into that. But I'm making you a bit of a PSA, as I'd say. It's in low dosages. So for 200 grams of black chocolate, you're not going to get as a big like a bang for your buck than in red meat. So if you have strategies that are not aligned on this matter, you're just gonna eat 900 calories worth of dark chocolate, and it's not gonna be as effective as eating maybe 50 grams of red meat, for instance. So gotta be a bit of a scale into this. There are others compounds that are gonna be important for dopamine, which is vitamin B6, iron, and BH4. Okay, so you're gonna find this on chicken, fish, potatoes, bananas, mostly, and spinach. All right. So main conclusion for dopamine, you gotta understand how the nervous system works. It's important. Okay. But you gotta always act on different matters. Okay. So I'm acting on phenylalanine, I'm acting on tyrosine, I'm acting on other matters. Now about you're gonna have many benefits from serotonin, which is regulating mood, sleep, appetite, and hormone levels, mostly in women. Okay, so relaxation state is very important for women to have a good hormonal levels, and that is why male athletes tends to have a really high functioning hormonal levels. Is the stress that is put by the sports is gonna raise cortisol into men's, which is gonna raise factors that are gonna build some more testosterone. With women, cortisol is going to be a big factor in regulating, like not accessing relaxation, and it's going to be a big dropout for hormone levels in women. So very important to know, relaxation and the serotonin part is very important for women in terms of nutrition and even compounds more than nutrition. Okay. So for serotonin, the main amino acids that are going to regulate everything is going to be tryptophan. Okay, so this one is an essential amino acids which must be obtained from the diet, and food sources, once again, meat, red meat, fish, eggs, dairy products in itself, but mostly raw milk, nuts, seeds, bananas, chocolate. It's going to be like the same compounds. That's good. That's good in itself. Like there is no magic trick. It's always going to be the same. They have big profiles on vitamins. They have big profiles on minerals. They have better profiles on amino acids. Therefore, they are good compound food. So you're going to find it there. For other factors, it's going to be the same. As for tyrosine, as for dopamine, the other compounds are going to be vitamin B6, iron, and BH4. Because at the end of the day, when your central nervous system wants something which is dopamine and serotonin, it's never going to be fully dopamine, fully serotonin. It's a spectrum. Okay, so in itself, you can see dopamine and serotonin are pretty much close to being the same. Okay, so there is this on the central nervous system. And we're going to get to the last part, which is the basal metabolism. So with all the above that we treated taken into account, you can expect improved metabolic functioning. Okay, we talked about basal metabolism. It's the number of calories your body needs to function on a daily basis. Faulty metabolism is one that works in slow motion. It's common to meet people who have difficulty losing weight and for whom the slightest excess in quantity will have disastrous results on their weight. Okay, and on this one, it's not a case of maybe consuming too much, but years of a malfunctioning metabolic system. By rebalancing the nervous system, the hormone balance and the vitamin profile that we talked about, you are guaranteed to move from a slower metabolism to a little faster metabolism, okay? Which will work faster in, instead of gaining weight from maybe 1,800 calories consumed a day, you will maybe now gain weight from 2,000, 2,200, 2,300 calories consumed in a day. Why is this? It's because your metabolism is more powerful. And according to Kleber's law, which states that for all vertebrates, metabolism is proportional to body mass at power 3/4. Okay. So if your metabolism isn't up to the standards that is put by this rule, you run the risk of suboptimal functioning of the body. You should not strive for a very, very slow metabolism. Okay. This is something that some athletes can chase from time to time, but for longevity, for sustainability, it's not good. Okay. Sooner or later, it's going to endanger your health, which is like with, big loss, big destruction, big signs, or just in, I'd say, like a silent death. Okay. It's not going to be like, oh, you're going to have cancer or you're going to have this type of issue, which can be at risk. Okay. But it's mostly going to just shorten a bit your path, your path. Okay. So it's not always about risking like major health risks. It's mostly like just running low on on energy sooner in time. Okay. So to make it clear, like what we use at Ikare in terms of comprehensive nutrition, okay, our approach is as follows. We have medical understanding of your nutritional needs through genetic testing reviewed by a doctor, a more holistic and mental understanding of your relationship and dietary constraints through epigenetic testing reviewed by a coach, mental coach, and strategic implementation according to your goals and life challenges by a coach in nutrition or in training, which is going to be like the last introduction maybe to the next webinar, which is going to be like the impact of muscle mass, physical activity on the longevity and how it should be treated. And it really deserves a whole webinar in itself to influence positively your metabolism. We have to address the physical part. So it's going to be about muscular mass, fat mass in your body, the equilibrium between those two, and that's what you have to address before building your nutrition plan. If there is deficits here, you need to build your nutrition plan accordingly. Anatomy, anticipating pains, pathology through epigenetics tests. Okay, that you have to address before maybe building your training part, and what we call like mobility, flexibility with a more functional body, which is a point that you have to address to not make mistakes in your goals and not injure yourself. So it's a leverage that we use it on Ikare and that you don't want to miss onto in the next the next webinar. Okay, I might leave you with maybe some kinds of questions or whichever if you want to take the mic, Max.
I think it's good. I think thank you very much. Maybe anyone has a question, and guys, feel free to raise your hand. And
Yes. Yes. Hello, everyone. I had a question actually. I really like so thank you for everything. It's a lot of value. My first question is about the TRT part. I found this very interesting because, well, I'm young, but I thought that in 30 years I would start using TRT. But so I understood it's not good. Anyway, my question is there any way via nutrition or physical activities, supplement or anything, to prevent this loss of testosterone through time, or at least limited it?
Well, the main point, thank you, Axel, for the question. The main point is always going to be sustain a good micronutritional results in your body, and to enhance the pathways of how testosterone is built. Okay, so it's a balance, because with homeostasis, you will not obtain, like, what you're asking really is like how to maintain the same levels of testosterone in my body with aging. You cannot really. Okay, you cannot naturally stays with the same ways of testosterone used to be in your body when your whole metabolism was functioning around it. So you can, like, prevent the loss in itself. The loss in itself is linked directly to soluble vitamins and physical activity. So through physical activity, through maintaining body mass, through putting your body in stress context, you're going to force your body to produce this testosterone to prevent loss. Okay, again, your body is blind, so you have to put him through some kind of stress to prevent, to make better ways for testosterone to be here. Testosterone is, as everything, it's functional. Okay, so you have to make a context where it's very important for your body to still produce it, and you have to fill it with the nutrition that is going to be appropriate for it. It's a bit of a general response, but it's always going to go with underlying systems. It's not going to be with, oh, I'm going to get some tribulus, I'm going to get some stuff like this. You just have to have a good micronutritional status, and you have to put your body through exercises, contexts that are going to force your body to produce it.
Okay, yes, I understand now. There is no magic adaptogenic plant to boost testosterone. It's bullshit. But
It's a compound.
okay, it's a
It's an
compound. Yeah, I
ecosystem that
understand. Is there like social situation or like that can also contribute to boost testosterone full time?
Yeah, of course there is. Bottom line is, of course there is. Putting yourself through lots of comfort, lots of relaxation parts. Of course, it's a balance, but as for testosterone to be here, you need to have high, intense activities, and it's not only about training, it's only about how you build your life. So if we take a step further, of course, maintaining like low level of stress at all time, and not pushing you because testosterone's function is to push you to do more, okay, which is physically, which is in kinds of ambitions, kinds of power settings, okay. So you have to put yourself through situations that are gonna make you dive forward to this. So a situation that is all about relaxation, that is all about maintaining stability is good, but I'd say for testosterone, it's good only in the case of recovering your body. It's not good in the case of secreting testosterone. So yeah, of course you cannot scale it. You cannot say, oh, I'm gonna put myself always into big projects. I'm gonna put myself with everlasting objectives, goals that are gonna boost my testosterone. You cannot scale it really. So it's a bit hard, but of course, putting yourself in those situations is gonna force your body to go towards those matters.
Okay, thank you for your answer. It's very complete.
I think we have time for one more question, and that's it, guys.
Let's go. Now, question around more about maybe physical training. We can make an introduction about this. This is our question of
Right.
Trésorier CEQ.
No, I think it's good. I think it was a question before. Not sure, but right. I think we're good. And if nobody has a question, then we can wrap it up. Then thank you so much for attending the first webinar. We're going to it's going to be there's going to have a replay, so no worries about it. If you want to rewatch, it was a bit complicated in the first place, no worries. Thank you, Andrea, for everything.
Thanks, everybody.
And we're going to have the next one very soon, possibly maybe in the next 2 weeks or so. So please keep in touch, and happy to have you all. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Great having you.
Thank you very much. Merci plutôt.